From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, September 4th, 2014. Silver is trading at $19.22 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,270 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $481. Antiwar.com reports Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko both confirmed yesterday that a ceasefire deal has been reached, though both sides differed about whose idea it actually was. Putin publicly laid out the terms of a 7-point peace plan for eastern Ukraine, with the first step being both sides ending their active offensive operations against one another. The goal is to finalize the deal on Friday. Poroshenko's description of the plan claimed Putin had agreed to a deal with Ukraine, though the Kremlin issued a correction pointing out that Ukraine and Russia aren't actually at war and that the deal is to end the eastern Ukrainian conflict. Russia has been trying to negotiate an end to that war for months and has been pushing deals on federalism and increased regional autonomy as the key to ending the internal war. Analysts didn't see much chance of the deal actually ending the war, saying it would be difficult to sell peace inside Ukraine ahead of October's parliamentary elections. Ukraine's ultranationalists, who are increasingly politically important, have been pushing precipitous acceleration of the war. Ukraine's government had been spurning peace deals when the war was going well on their side, but seems to be changing their mind with a recent rebel counteroffensive reversing their gains. FPP Radio News is brought to you by Coinbase. Coinbase is a simple and secure online Bitcoin wallet for sending, receiving, and storing Bitcoin. I trust Coinbase. You should too. Get started at coinbase.fppradio.com. That's coinbase.fppradio.com. Reuters reports Missouri Governor Jay Nixon on Wednesday formally lifted the state of emergency that had been declared in Ferguson weeks ago when the shooting death of an unarmed teenager by a police officer sparked sometimes violent demonstrations. Nixon said, "Over the past week, we've seen students getting back to school, businesses reopening their doors, and folks getting back to their normal routines." Nixon declared a state of emergency on August 16th due to the unrest in the St. Louis suburb following the August 9th shooting of Michael Brown by Ferguson police officer Darren Wilson. Demonstrators have continued to protest in Ferguson, calling for prosecutors to charge Wilson in Brown's death and for police to change tactics. There have been no violent clashes in about 2 weeks, like those in which police in riot gear fired tear gas to quell crowds and made scores of arrests. Nixon said a return of peace to Ferguson streets was a testament to efforts by community and faith leaders working alongside state and local law enforcement officers. A county grand jury has begun hearing evidence about the police shooting, and the U.S. Justice Department has opened a separate investigation. FPP Radio News is brought to you by Roberts & Roberts Brokerage. For over 35 years, Roberts & Roberts has been a trusted source for buying and selling your investment-grade precious metals. They now take Bitcoin for purchasing precious metals so you can turn your profits into a long-term investment. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on investing. 800-874-9760. The AP reports a suburban Detroit man who killed an unarmed woman on his porch was sentenced Wednesday to at least 17 years in prison after telling the victim's family he would carry guilt and sorrow forever. Wayne County Judge Dana Hathaway followed the recommendation of prosecutors in the case of Theodore Wafer, who was convicted of second-degree murder in the death of 19-year-old Renisha McBride. Wafer opened his front door and shot McBride through a screen door on November 2nd. He said he was awakened by pounding before dawn and feared for his life. A jury rejected his self-defense claim. The judge said, although the evidence clearly showed that Miss McBride made some terrible choices that night, none of them justified taking her life. I do not believe you're a cold-blooded murderer, or that this case had anything to do with race, or that you're some sort of monster. I do believe that you acted out of some fear, but mainly anger and panic. Wafer told the judge that he killed a woman who was too young to leave this world, adding, I will carry that guilt and sorrow forever. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.